coming up on ATV News.
Women's rights have always been something that have been necessary to fight for. They haven't just been given to us.
We'll show you how a walk downtown can be a history lesson.
Find out why this plane took off from a field.
Check your smoke alarms, you might need them.
These people can't stay here after their apartments burn. It's where they go next. That's the problem.
How long has it been since Utah State?
This excavator is filling a trench that collapsed on a man while he was working on a new sewer line Monday. His coworkers said they dug him out and called 911. Medics from Logan and Cache County responded, but he was already freed. Medics took him to the hospital with possible spinal and rib cage injuries. The construction crew planned on digging the foundation, but called it off. Welcome to this edition of ATV News. I'm Lisa Feinstein.
And I'm Shay Densley. A Logan apartment is now unlivable. Eric Price shows you how residents were left homeless.
Firefighters respond to an apartment fire last Thursday on 100 East.
The fire department arrived on scene. We did have some smoke from the eaves of the building. The fire department was able to make entry and locate a fire in the attic above the apartments.
Surrounded by lights and police tape, the house was evacuated.
We don't have any injuries to the residents or any of the firefighters. He's back there looking right now, okay?
Residents stand outside worried about personal items left in the fire.
Yeah, I had to grab my jacket. On my way out the door, I grabbed my jacket and my phone.
Days later after the fire, what's left? This abandoned building and chairs covered in soot. No one can live in the house until it's renovated. One resident is stuck in a hard place.
The Red Cross did give me a little bit of money and I'm very grateful for it. It's a very small amount because I'm a single person and my apartment didn't get destroyed. But this is the middle of the month. I don't get paid till the 1st.
Eric Price, ATV News.
Assistant Chief Craig Humphreys says there is an ongoing investigation to determine the cause of the fire.
Have you ever run out of gas and your buddy had to bring you more? How about that, but in a plane? A pilot made an emergency landing in a Lewiston field after one of the fuel tanks wouldn't pump fuel into the engine. The pilot of the big tired bush plane waited in the field until his friend with the plane on skis brought him a few gallons of gas. Eventually, both planes were able to do short takeoffs from the field.
A police chief who got fired for DUI just got arrested again for driving under the influence. Former Manaway Police Chief Shane Ziles was pulled over and arrested last year for DUI after a highway patrol trooper said he saw him speeding and driving in the middle of the road. Ziles was arrested for DUI on February 6th and again on Friday, this time on 5 counts of possession of an altered drug.
You might notice some changes at Utah State after an agreement with the Department of Justice. Adam Larson joins us from the Title IX office. Hi, Adam. What changes have been made?
Hi, Lisa. The Department of Justice has recommended sweeping changes here at the Title IX office, and President Noel Cockett is making sure those happen. Cameras and emergency polls. Just 2 of the things Utah State is doing to help prevent sexual misconduct on campus. It also overhauled the Title IX office, changing its name to the Office of Equity. These changes come because
people were confused about where they could get anonymous counseling and help.
The Department of Justice outlined a list of things the university must do or continue to do to combat sexual misconduct, including informing students of where to report sexual misconduct, providing prompt investigation of claims, having a written policy to ensure all reports are handled consistently, using an electronic system for reporting, and updating its website to ensure it has correct information.
It's one thing to make all these changes, but do they make students feel safer here on campus?
Having lights and more emergency posts and things, if nothing else, make people feel safer, and that's a good thing.
Campaigns like Consent Is and Allies on Campus are things Cockett thinks helps the problem.
I think these kinds of campaigns get our students talking about what that respect is for each other, what those boundaries are, really get that communication out there, because if we can talk about it, then we can deal with it.
Cockett says she wants people to know the resources like Savvy and the Office of Equity available on campus.
The support that we can give people and the education of prevention can really make it an even better campus.
Currently at Utah State, over 22,000 students have taken sexual harassment prevention training, over 10,000 have taken bystander intervention training, and over 3,000 students have had an education on what healthy relationships and consent are. Live at the Office of Equity, Adam Larson, ATV News. Back to you, Lisa.
Thank you, Adam.
A man is in Box Elder County Jail today after police say he led them on a high-speed chase. Police say they pulled over Christian Moril after a traffic violation on Sunday. They say he refused to identify himself and sped off, reaching speeds of 90 miles an hour. Police say they spiked his tires on I-15 near Perry. Moril is facing charges of possession of drugs and driving on a suspended license. He also had warrants for failing to appear in Salt Lake and Utah County courts.
Women gained the right to vote 100 years ago, but it was 150 years ago for Utah. And a lot of those activists started right here in Logan. A history major created a tour you can take on your phone that lets you walk in their footsteps.
The Bluebird!
Meredith Richards is learning something about this Logan restaurant.
It was the location of the celebratory ball after Utah women's voting rights were again recognized in 1896.
From a downloadable tour of sites significant to Utah's voting rights.
Learning the history in a local case study in a small town is a really great way to kind of see the process of how it went from a small movement and fed into a national one.
Next on the tour, the Logan Tabernacle.
This document here tells me that the Logan Tabernacle hosted the foundational meeting of the Women's Suffrage Association of Cache County in 1889. Wow, that's cool. That's crazy that this thing has been around for that long, you know?
Peter and Marianne Weston Mon introduced the first legislation to recognize women's rights to vote in Utah in 1870. They lived here, but that house was torn down.
Yeah, with the buildings, I mean, unfortunately, some of them aren't standing as they used to be, which is too bad.
Miller says what happened in those buildings created opportunities for women we haven't always had.
Women's rights have always been something that have been necessary to fight for. They haven't just been given to us.
You can find a link to the tour on our Facebook page.
You know, Lisa, it looked pretty cold out there when you were given that tour.
Yeah, it was definitely very chilly, and it's definitely still chilly today. The current temperature in Logan is 28 degrees.
Context matters.
Coming up, find out how you may unconsciously be affecting other people's lives.
Come and try the strength and conditioning class. Train like an athlete.
So how much longer do you think we're going to be studying for?
Probably another hour or so.
Okay.
What's up, Mark? What's up? How you doing? How are you? Good. What's good? You doing? Picking some stuff up? Yeah, just get some stuff to make dinner for Rachel. Oh man, that's why you're an awesome boyfriend. Thank you. See you later. All right, see you.
Where have you been? Do you know how long I've been waiting? I don't care. What did you even get? right? Is that what I said? What are you good for? You're such an idiot. You know, you drive me crazy. I've been texting you, you don't respond. You make me talk to you this way. This isn't what I want. You do this. You're the dumb one. Why am I with you?
Today, 1 out of every 4 American kids is Hispanic. That means many of the future doctors who will care for us, the engineers who will build our cities, the scientists and entrepreneurs of our country can be your kids. We all know how hard it is for you to send them to college. This is why we want you to know you are not alone. And every day, more people support you to make it happen. Many support you. And the Hispanic Scholarship Fund helps you prepare, plan, and pay for your kids' college education. Learn more at hsf.net.
Welcome to ATV Weather. I'm Adam Larson. Here we are with the national radar. You can see here, getting right into it. Right here in the south, we've got a lot of cloud cover down here. A lot of those are going to turn into rainstorms, thunderstorms, and whatnot. So if you're down there in the south, we're getting hit pretty hard here. And then you can see right up here in this Nebraska, Kansas, Colorado area. Colorado just got hit by this storm going through Nebraska and Kansas, getting hit by it right now. A lot of snow coming through from that storm system. Let's check out the pressure map of the national forecast. You can see up here, that high pressure zone is coming down. It's bringing a lot of cold air in. You can see right there, that white area right here in Nebraska, Kansas, all of that is snow. This blue area down in Oklahoma, mixed snow and rain. And then, like I said, those clouds right down in here, a lot of this green area, just all rain by that low pressure system. And if you look over here, we've got the high pressure. That's all going to be coming down into Utah, bringing those temperatures up, coming up into the weekend. And hopefully it'll stay, but looking like another low pressure system is going to be coming in through that. Let's take a look at the national temperature. As you can see here, right up in this Minnesota, Wisconsin, North Dakota area, a lot of cold. It's really cold up there right now. If you're up there, you're going to be wanting putting on as many jackets as you possibly can because it is freezing up there. Down here in this Florida area, the Gulf Coast area, really hot. Quite a stark contrast between the two. Really hot up there right now. And then down here in California, bottom of California, also pretty hot. Utah, pretty average temperatures, just slightly below average. Let's take a look at our state radar. You can see here, not a ton of cloud cover coming on right now. It's been a pretty clear day. We're going to be looking pretty clear throughout the week as well. Let's take a look at our state high. You can see this is the high temperature, just the same as the national. Right up here in the Logan area, we're getting really low, 29-degree high today. It's pretty chilly. Salt Lake about average, and down in the St. George area, 49. It's pretty warm. You might want to travel down south if you like the heat. Let's take a look at the low for today. You can see it's getting really chilly. 6-degree low up here in Logan today, 18 in Salt Lake City, 13 down in St. George. So it will get chilly down there in St. George, but hopefully it's going to be warming up by the end of this week. And let's take a look at our snowpack for the week. You can see here we've got a snowpack percentage list here, 114% pack up in the Logan area. That's 14% above the average for the year, but around most of Utah is above average. You can see down in the Escalante River area, 126%, 26% above normal snowpack, and those northeastern Uinta Mountains, 130% snowpack. They're getting hit really hard up in that area. Let's take a look at that graph. You can see this graph right here shows us the difference in the 2019 and 2020. That green line right there in the middle is the median, and you can see that brown, dark black almost line. That's 2020s, and then the greenish, the lighter green one is 2019's. 2019 just barely passes us right now. We were above 2019 in snowpack going for most of this season, and then right around this February mark, 2019 just shot straight up. They got hit hard. We got hit really hard last year, so we'll see if that continues this year. Let's take a look at our 7-day forecast now. You can see here, Wednesday, we're getting a really cold, like I said, 29 high and 8-degree low. Thursday heats up a little bit, 38, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday heats up quite a bit. We've got 38, 42 degrees on Saturday and Sunday, which will help us a lot, you know, if you like that warm temperature. But coming through Sunday as well, we're going to be seeing that low pressure system come back up from the northwest, and and possibly bringing in some showers coming into Monday and Tuesday, dropping those temperatures back down to the 30s, low 30 degrees, lows of mid-teens. So it's going to be pretty chilly again next week. So hopefully you have some coats to put on. Back to you at the desk, Shane.
Thanks, Adam. Unconscious bias may be a term you haven't heard. Nathaniel Gillis explains how it can be affecting you every day.
Somebody asking me if I was on an athletic scholarship just because they assumed I'm an athlete because I'm a black woman.
Is Leigh Mobley, describing her experience with unconscious bias. Dr. Renee Navarro says unconscious biases are social stereotypes formed about groups outside of your own inner circle. These are beliefs that we form to categorize the world and people around us. Recently, the concept of unconscious bias was brought to light in a Washington Post article covering a story about BYU. The Post says a panel of African Americans and immigrants were asked anonymous questions, such as, why do we celebrate Black History Month? Why do black people hate police? And why aren't there any white people on this panel? Out of inspiration from the article,
I decided to talk with students here on campus to see what questions they might ask.
How has their experience at Utah State been?
I just say, like, what's up, man, how you doing? And just, have a normal conversation.
Because like other people, they're belong to this community, this society, but we shouldn't have social inequality against them or others.
While people did find offense to the questions, a local BYU student had a different opinion.
I think where this article begins to become charged and misleading to a lot of people is they're assigning intent and malice to not only just the person who submitted the questions, but they also do that to the student body, the university, and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
The LDS Church has condemned racism for years now, saying, church members who promote or pursue a white culture or white supremacy agenda are not in harmony with teachings of the church.
Have I experienced racist behavior? Perhaps. Have I experienced an overwhelmingly loving and including and friendly behavior from other people? Absolutely.
Nathaniel Gillis, ATV News.
Leigh Mobley says you can support black students by researching more about unconscious bias.
When you buy software, would you rather a digital copy or a disc? ATV's Kaden Anderson tells you why gamers like having the option.
Whether you are on PlayStation, Xbox, or PC, one thing is clear: the use of discs is disappearing.
To me, like, if you're buying the disc copy, like, why would you do it when you can buy the digital one? Because the digital one with Xbox, you can buy it and have it downloaded. So as soon as the release date time for your area is there, you can be playing. You don't have to wait until midnight to get the disc, come home, download for a few hours, and then get it.
Many gamers told me that they enjoy using the virtual stores on their consoles to purchase games, such as the PlayStation Store. So we're going to go ahead and get the PlayStation Store booted up so you can take a look and see how easy it is to purchase a game. So as you can see here in the PlayStation Store, you have access to so many games and deals that are only on the PlayStation Store. But say you wanted to play an older game like The Last of Us. You could go up to that search bar up top, give it a search. PlayStation's normally really good about searches. You can just put in one word of something, such as the, and we're going to be able to find The Last of Us. Once we find our game, we could scroll down and click it. And once we click it, it'll take you to the home page of the game. Whereas you can see in the bottom of my screen here, you can purchase the game, and once you purchase the game, it will immediately start downloading to your console. However, there are still some gamers out there that prefer to have a disc.
With a digital download, you don't really own anything. You could always lose it somehow.
200 games, if that's just all gone and I have no way of retrieving it, I don't know if I want to buy all of them again. So I hope it doesn't happen.
Most gamers say there is no difference in performance between the two.
Kaden Anderson, ATV News.
You can buy both the digital and disc versions at your local GameStop.
Gaming has gotten so popular lately that now we have esports.
Yeah, I've heard that is a huge trend lately. And speaking of sports, Austin, what do we have this week?
That's right, we got a lot of sports coming up. Men's basketball has been on a roll. I'll show you how many they've won in a row.
Find out how you can sweep your way to victory.
Look at me, hey.
Raymond, look at mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe he can't hear us. Maybe we're not stimulating him enough. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
Body language. Without saying a word, it can tell you so much. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time. Time to call 911 immediately. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Learn the body language, the sudden signs, and spot a stroke fast.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
That's the sound of Marlene Anyambosu sinking a buzzer beater to win the game against Boise State. Welcome to ATV Sports. I'm Austin Elder. Let's jump back in and see what led to that win. After a 4-game losing streak, women's basketball rallied to beat Boise State 58-56. Coming together quite nice for this shot. Their next game, Aggies brought more high energy with this full court pass to Anyambosu against Colorado for another buzzer beater, but weren't able to bring in the win. They lost to Colorado 61-67. Moving on to the next game, playing Fresno State at home, Aggies had a great defense, but not enough to beat the Bulldogs. Aggies ended up losing to Fresno State 61-79 and are currently in last place in the Mountain West Conference with 7-19. They play Wyoming tonight at 6:30. On to men's basketball.
Moments like that with the 55-year anniversary of Wayne Estes, and I just looked around and there was hardly an empty seat tonight.
Men's basketball played Boise State 55 years to the day after the passing of Aggie legend Wayne Estes. Sam Merrill was only 21 points short of scoring 2,000 in his career, but foul trouble would keep him from reaching the mark here. Emias Queta led the Aggies with points and 5 insane blocks. Aggies won 70-61. Aggies took on Colorado State next, and Merrill was on fire in this one. Sam hit 6 threes and dropped 32 points in this game, his 7th career 30-point game, all happening on the road. Maybe one day we'll get a performance like this at home. Aggies ended up winning 75-72. Now here against Colorado, Merrill stayed hot against Fresno, while Queta struggled a bit against the Bulldogs. Sam finished with 24 points, while Justin Bean chipped in 15 and 11 rebounds to help the Aggies win 71-59 victory. Aggies are currently 2nd place in the Mountain West Conference. USU Gymnastics had a couple strong showings at home, first knocking off Boise State for the first time since 2012. After beating Boise, the Aggies took on the number 20 ranked Southern Utah University on Valentine's Day and recorded the 3rd highest score in school history, getting at least a 49 in every event. Freshman Sophie Sullivan led the team with the highest overall score, and Autumn DeHardy once again scored the highest on beam and floor, scoring an amazing 9.925 in both. They head out on the road for a 4-team meet in Boise this Friday. Now, Utah State softball team swept the Golden State Classic tournament, winning all 5 games.
It's the first time that they've done this since 1980. The Aggies were led by sophomore pitcher Capreet Toon, who pitched a no-hitter against San Diego. She allowed only 5 hits in her 3 appearances, earning her the Mountain West Pitcher of the Week and USU Student Athlete of the Week. The hockey team lost in the Mountain West Championship Tournament, but played UVU at home this Saturday. They dominated the Wolverines, putting in 10 biscuits in the basket to UVU's 2 goals from 8 different players. Senior night is Friday at 7 against Weber at the Eccles Ice Center. Now you're all caught up on Aggie sports. Back to you, Lisa.
Thanks, Austin. You may have seen curling during the Olympics and wondered, what's going on? The Cache Valley Stone Society put together a night that you could try it out for yourself. About 30 first-time stone throwers learned the basics of curling at Eccles Ice Center Monday night. Members of the Stone Society taught proper stone throwing, sweeping the ice in front of the stones, and rules and strategy for these first-timers.
I always thought it was fun to watch during the Olympics, but this was the first time I'd had an opportunity to come do it.
The new season is starting and the league meets on Mondays. USU students get a discounted league fee and can take a class that meets on Fridays. To find out more about the Cache Valley Stone Society, follow the link on our Facebook page.
Was it difficult for you adjusting to the college life? Well, these former high school superstars face some different challenges.
It's not the freshman's first practice, but it is their first year.
It's a completely different game, but we have good coaching staff and good teammates, so the learning process has been sped up a lot and it's been a lot easier for me.
It's been different. Obviously the physical aspect you have to be stronger to play with these guys. Faster pace and all that, but I feel like I'm getting used to it, and by next year I'll be ready for sure.
Players say transitioning from playing at a high school like this one to playing at a Division I school like Utah State University would have been way more challenging if they didn't have others ready to help.
Sam, Diego, and Abel they're the 3 senior guards, and they've really taken me under their wing. They've taught me a lot, and it's been a really good learning from them.
Players say time on the court is more valuable since they're no longer the best player on the team.
Now you kind of just got to be ready for every opportunity and take advantage of it, because it's not always going to be there, and you don't always have the ball in your hands, so you kind of just got to get used to that.
Dunking like this makes being a freshman a little easier. Jonathan May, ATV News.
You can catch these freshmen take on Wyoming tonight on ESPN.
Thanks for joining us on this edition of ATV News.
You can find all the latest editions on our Facebook page.
We'll leave you with some shots of curling over at the Eccles Ice Center.
Have a great week, Aggies.
The surplus store. Someone's trash is about to be my treasure.
We have cords and cables here.
We have bags full of towels and sheets.
Do you want this fold-up mattress? Because we don't.
We got keyboards, paint cans, whatever this is, typewriters, computer monitors.
It's destiny on the line, and we want you at surplus.
Products are not guaranteed to work. All sales are final. This commercial is not endorsed by Utah State.